is your host, Grecia Cabrera with Cascade Media Group. And today I'm bringing you the book of the month, Brave Brooklyn. I'd like to introduce you to T. Amber and little Brooklyn, who is such a brave little girl. I figured, why not bring a story of redemption and good news in a world filled with so many bad news? So please, T. Amber, introduce yourself and tell us about Brooklyn.
Yes, most definitely. Thank you all so much for having us. Yes, my name is T. Amber Hodge. I am Brooklyn's mother here, and we wrote a story called Brave Brooklyn that is a true story that when Brooklyn was 4 years old, she was mauled by two dogs and we almost lost her. And this was a terrifying time in our life. We were going through so many changes. We moved from Kansas City to Atlanta, Georgia to start over, a fresh new start, and then this incident happened. We were not sure what was to come of it. If I would have this same spunky little girl back, I prayed long and hard, but Brooklyn had to undergo 6 hours of surgery following the attack. We had people praying for her all across the country from family and friends. So we thank so much. And she recovered. She bounced back. She was very resilient. And this is from the incident through her physical therapy. We literally went in one Saturday where they had to fly her in a helicopter. It was that bad, flew her in. That next Saturday, we were walking home. Despite the tubes in her legs, Brooklyn lost all of her hair due to the accident. We just wasn't sure how she was going to bounce back. But the way she handled herself truly gave me strength to keep going as her mother. And as I saw her put up the fight, I fought along with her, right beside her. So it was a scary time, but she showed us all from the doctors and everyone that she was brave Brooklyn and she was going to beat this thing regardless of whatever happened. And she truly did. And it was inspiring. So we told her story from a child's point of view. One day I prayed upon it, confused as to what just took place. Why would this accident and this change, this transformation in our life, why would this occur? And I just kept hearing, tell her story. Every time I prayed about it, tell her story. So that's what we did. We sat down one day and it was very therapeutic for us to talk about the incident, hear her point of view, because she didn't mind talking about it. She was never afraid of dogs following the incident. So we just sat down together and began to tell it from the beginning to the end. And so far, we donated over 100 copies of Brave Brooklyn to various hospitals across the country. It just lets kids know wherever you go through, just remain resilient, remain brave. And what we call is your superpowers. Whatever you go through in life really, truly impacts. You could do so much for other people and you give back with that gift. So that's why we did Brave Brooklyn. We created this book, and I'm very proud of her and her being able to do this book with me. It's really been a blessing.
So, Brooklyn, what do you remember about that day?
So I remember that I got knocked out, and I remember I remember what dragged me, and I remember I just woke up back and I saw my auntie on top of me, and I started to bang my head on the grass, and then all of a sudden they started dragging me and pulled my hair out, and then I was asleep and I heard them like biting and scratching my legs, and um then I started crawling on the floor. I saw my mama running, tried to get me, and then I saw her running, and then I saw one dog trying to get my mom, and I passed out, and then I started to wake up back again. My mom was on top of the stairs, so I was staring at the dog, just standing there, and then I passed out again. And then I saw my mom crying on the couch and calling 911, and then all of a sudden I didn't see nothing, but I started to say no shots, no shots, and I started to pass out, and then I woke up a little bit, and then I saw a bunch of doctors, and I woke up, and I saw my mom and my dad.
How did you feel when you woke up?
I felt a little bit sharp on my legs, and it hurt. And
Yeah.
like I started to feel like I could do it, and I could try to like work my legs out.
Yeah, she really did, Gracia. When she woke up, they actually had to wake her up. She had tubes. They kept her sedated for 2 days following the surgery, and then they had to wake her up. And with doing so, her first words were, "Where's Auntie? I want to go to Chuck E. Cheese, and I'm hungry." And I And she did, like, she woke up, she wanted to do so much on her own, even though she had tubes in her legs. I mean, tubes were everywhere, and they began to slowly, day by day, take things off of her. We started to do so much for Brooklyn, and you know her, she's very independent and want to do everything on her own. So us having to help her go to the bathroom and things like that, she kept saying, I could do it, I could do it, let me do it. And she just was very feisty and just wanted to prove to us that she's okay. I'm going to be all right throughout this whole process. There's nothing to worry about. Even when she finally saw her hair was gone, G, I was more nervous about how she was going to take it because she's my diva. So I'm like, how's she going to feel about this? She just like, I look like dad, and brushed it off and kept going. So she just was reassuring to us all that regardless of what took place, it wasn't going to beat her at all.
So, Brooklyn, have you interacted with dogs after that incident?
Your dog's Lulu. Have you talked with, like, what did you do with dogs following it? Let them know what happened when we came home. Who did you see first?
I saw my best friend Lulu. She's a pit bull.
That was the neighbor's dog. So upon us coming home, well, even I'll back it up. When we were at the hospital, they have service animals there. And that's the first time Brooklyn actually saw a dog following the attack. So the nurses and doctors really kept the service animals away from her in the beginning because they weren't sure how she was going to adapt or, interact with them. But we went to the library one day in which there was a service animal there. And we weren't sure how Brooklyn was going to take it. And she just stuck her hand down to try to touch the dog. And the dog just walked up to her and let her touch the top of her head. And that was the first interaction. And then when we came home, it was the neighborhood dog, is what we called it, the neighbor's dog. She saw Brooklyn and start crawling real low on her stomach and flipped over so Brooklyn could rub her belly. And Brooklyn did. She went over there and rubbed her stomach. And after that, anytime we were outside, that dog was by Brooklyn's side and went everywhere with her. And people are often surprised that that was a pit bull because when we tell about the attack, they always think it was a pit bull that attacked her. And I said, no, the pit bull actually was very protective over Brooklyn following the event. And the neighbors think that that dog saw the accident because when they came home, they knew something was wrong. They kind of heard all the commotion that took place, and the dog would not come out of her kennel. And that wasn't like Lucy. She went run around everybody. So they said she was shaking and wouldn't come out of the kennel. So they think at that moment she saw what happened. So when she finally saw Brooklyn, she did just that. She crawled low and then rolled on her back so Brooklyn could touch her belly and let her know that it was going to be okay to touch her. And after that, they were like this. They were. So we made sure we put Lulu in the book as well because it really meant a lot for her to have the interaction with Brooklyn. And it was very sweet. So the neighbors actually sent us this book. You can see it. And they had Lulu stamp her little foot. And so we were very appreciative of that. And yeah, it meant a lot to us to have the dog around Brooklyn afterwards. And she was very protective, very protective.
It's not very often we get a book like that from a child's perspective after such a traumatic incident. How has this book helped other people?
Most definitely. And you know what, G? It's not even the children who've said this is a great book. There were even adults. They said they took a lot away from it because so many grown-ups told her, I would have been terrified of dogs following that. And for you not to be scared means a lot. So they were really inspired by the fact that this little girl who endured so much pain and just a horrible, tragic story, that her to bounce back the way she did and just puts the biggest smile on their face and let them know that, nothing can keep them down. We can continue to persevere regardless of situations. And that's why she just kept saying her superpowers. And we called her Brave Brooklyn because that is exactly who she is. And it's just very inspiring, like I said, just to see her go through everything she did. And I mean, it really kept me going throughout it all because I'm freaking out. To be a mother, to see your child go through anything like that is never the easiest thing. But to see her just not give up and want to keep going, I was right by her side 100%, and we just did it.
Thank you so much for being willing to take that opportunity to create this book, which I still have to get the signature from our little local celebrity. but it's such an encouraging story, and I have had the privilege of knowing Brooklyn, and she's one of the brightest personalities I have ever met. She just makes people's days. Everyone loves her, even strangers that just see her. It's amazing to see how a child who has had such an experience has just developed this free personality. She's so loving. She's so willing to give. And I'm pretty sure she would love to go play outside right now. So I am going to keep the, the interview short for you, Brookie.
Well, we appreciate Tracy because, and I tell her all the time, this is truly her testimony. I don't know if she understands that, but people do gravitate towards Brooklyn. And I know that she never meets a stranger. Anywhere she goes, she never meets a stranger. And it says a lot. She has a purpose. And it brings me so much joy just to see her being able to put a smile on so many people's faces because she did endure something that we didn't know. And I prayed long and hard that she'll come back the same little girl she was prior to. And she came back force. And I tell people that all of the time. She really and truly did. So it's great to see her interact with people of all age ranges. She just enjoys people. She really does.
She's our own little superhero.
Show you the book. So even like in her school, they let her read the book and everything to her classroom, her classmates. And it's just, I enjoy that she's able to tell her story from her point of view.
I'm sure she's going to grow up to do a lot more and inspire a lot more people in many, many ways. Thank you so much, Brooklyn. Thank you so much, T. Amber. Yep. And I hope great things for you and your book.
Well, we appreciate you all taking the time to allow us to be on your platform. It really means a lot to us. So thank you.
Thank you. So this is Grecia Cabrera, your host with Cascade Media Group. Thank you so much for joining us today.
The program is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association.